Hello everyone. Welcome back to Naruto Fix. Today we have another interesting what if Naruto story. Which is what if Naruto never chased Sakura again. Part 1. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Now, without wasting any time, let's begin. The day Naruto Uzumaki stopped chasing Sakura Haruno. Nobody noticed. At first, it wasn't because he was angry. It wasn't because he hated her. And it definitely wasn't because he wanted revenge. No, it was because, for the very first time in his life, Naruto chose himself. It happened a few weeks after returning to Konoha from his training journey with Jiraiya. The village was peaceful. The sun illuminated every street. People walked around normally. Everything looked the same. But Naruto wasn't the same person anymore. Years of training, years of battles, years of pain. He had changed, grown taller, more mature, more confident, and for once, his heart felt calm. Naruto walked through Konoha with a smile. Then suddenly, he turned around. Sakura was running toward him. Naruto smiled. Hey Sakura-chan. She smiled. Where have you been? Tsunade-sama was looking for you. Naruto laughed. Just training. Then something unusual happened. Naruto simply smiled. No flirting. No asking her on a date. No begging for attention. No dramatic reaction. Just normal. Sakura blinked. That's it. Naruto scratched his head. Huh. She looked confused. Nothing. Then both walked toward the Hokage tower. Meanwhile, inside Sakura's mind. Something felt strange. Very strange. For years, Naruto always chased after her. Always complimented her. Always tried to impress her. But now, nothing. She shook her head. Maybe he's tired. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage tower, Tsunade sighed. Again, Naruto. Naruto smiled. Yep. She handed him a mission. Escort duty. Naruto grinned. Easy. Then Tsunade smirked. Team 7. Naruto nodded. Awesome. Hours later, Naruto, Sakura, Sai, and Kakashi were all walking together. Then Sakura noticed something again. Naruto wasn't staring at her. He wasn't trying to sit beside her. He wasn't trying to impress her. Instead, he was helping villagers, playing with children, smiling at everyone. Then an elderly woman accidentally dropped her groceries. Naruto immediately ran over. I got it. The woman smiled. Thank you Naruto. Naruto grinned. No problem. Then he repaired her broken cart too. Sakura watched quietly. Then she smiled. He really has changed. Meanwhile, Naruto simply continued walking. His thoughts were different now. Years ago, he wanted everyone to notice him. He wanted Sakura to choose him. He wanted validation. But now, he realized something. You can't force someone to love you. And that's okay. Because true happiness wasn't chasing people. It was becoming someone you were proud of. That evening, Naruto sat alone atop the Hokage monument. His favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange. Peaceful. Alive. Naruto smiled softly. Then quietly spoke. I think I'm done chasing. The wind blew gently. Naruto continued. Not because I gave up. He smiled. But because I deserve to move forward too. Then he laughed. Jiraiya was right. Years ago, Jiraiya once said, don't spend your entire life trying to make one person notice you. Become someone the world can't ignore. Naruto finally understood. Then footsteps approached. Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Hey Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then blinked. Can I ask you something? Naruto nodded. Sure. Sakura hesitated. Then spoke. Why are you acting different lately? Naruto blinked. She looked away. I don't know. You're calmer. More mature. And, she paused. You don't chase me anymore. Naruto looked toward the village. Then smiled softly. Yeah. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. I'll always care about you. I'll always protect you. You're my precious friend. The wind blew gently. Then Naruto smiled. But I'm not gonna force my feelings on you anymore. Maximum emotional damage. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. If you never love me back. He smiled. That's okay. Because real love isn't forcing someone to choose you. It's respecting their choice. Sakura looked at him in complete silence. Because this Naruto felt different, older, wiser, stronger. For the first time, she wasn't looking at an annoying boy. She was looking at a man. Naruto then stood up, stretched, then grinned. I'm hungry. Quote. Sakura laughed. Some things never changed. Naruto started walking away. Then he turned around. Oh, and Sakura-chan. She blinked. Naruto smiled warmly. Thanks. She froze. For what? Naruto looked at the sunset. Then smiled. For being part of my journey. Then he walked away, leaving Sakura completely speechless. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled, then whispered, interesting. Because for the first time in years. Naruto Uzumaki had stopped chasing Sakura Haruno. And ironically, that was the exact moment everything began to change. The next morning, something felt different, not just for Naruto, for Sakura too. For years, she had gotten used to a certain version of Naruto. The loud one, the goofy one, the one who always chased after her. The one who always said the same thing. Sakura-chan, go out with me. But now, that version of Naruto was gone. And for some reason, she kept thinking about it. Meanwhile, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got dressed, grabbed his jacket, and walked outside. The village was alive. Children waved. Shopkeepers smiled. People greeted him. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura was standing near a flower shop. Then she spotted him. Naruto smiled. Morning Sakura-chan. She smiled back. Morning. Then, Naruto simply walked away. Sakura froze. Quote. That's it. Meanwhile, Naruto was already helping someone else. An elderly woman needed help carrying supplies. Naruto immediately ran over. I got it. She smiled. Thank you. Naruto grinned. No problem. Sakura quietly watched. Then something strange happened. She smiled unconsciously, because she realized something. Naruto had always been like this. Kind, protective, helpful. She simply never paid attention before. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage Tower, Tsunade sighed. Again, Shizune stood nearby. Then Tsunade smiled. He finally grew up. Shizune laughed. About time. Meanwhile, Naruto was assigned another mission. Simple patrol duty. Naruto grinned. Easy. Then he arrived at the gate. Sakura was already there. Sigh too. Kakashi arrived late. Again. Naruto laughed. You're late. Kakashi smiled. I got lost. Everyone rolled their eyes. Then the mission began. Hours passed. Everything was peaceful. Then suddenly, they heard crying. A little boy was sitting alone. Naruto immediately sat beside him. What's wrong? The boy sniffled. I'm weak. Quote. Naruto smiled. Oh. Then he laughed. I used to be weak too. The boy blinked. Really? Naruto grinned. Really? Then he smiled warmly. But I never stopped trying. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto continued. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Just become a little better every day. The boy smiled. Okay. Naruto grinned. Good. Then he stood up. Sakura quietly watched him. Then she remembered something. Years ago, Naruto said almost the same thing to her. Back when she felt useless. Back when Sasuke had left. Back when she was crying. Naruto was always there. Always. And for the first time, she wondered something. Had she taken him for granted? That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Then footsteps approached. Sakura. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then looked at the village. Can I ask you something? Naruto nodded. Sure. Sakura hesitated, then spoke. Are you happier now? Naruto blinked. Huh, she smiled. You seem happier. Naruto looked toward the sky, then smiled softly. Yeah. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. I am. The wind blew gently. Naruto smiled. For a long time, I thought happiness meant getting everything I wanted. Quote. Then he laughed. But I was wrong. Sakura listened quietly. Naruto continued. Happiness is simpler than that. It's helping people. It's protecting Konoha. It's making memories. It's spending time with people I care about. Quote. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. And honestly, I'm finally at peace. Sakura froze. Because she had never seen him this way before. Calm. Confident. Content. Not chasing. Not begging. Not forcing anything. Just Naruto. The real Naruto. Then Naruto laughed. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Some things never changed. Then both stood up and began walking home. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled, then whispered, interesting. Because for the first time in years, Naruto wasn't running after Sakura anymore. He was moving forward, and sometimes, moving forward changes everything, even the hearts of the people left behind. The next few days, something strange started happening. Not to Naruto, to Sakura. For years, she was used to Naruto always being around her, always asking how she was, always trying to make her smile, always trying to get her attention. But now, everything was different, and for some reason, she couldn't stop noticing it. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got dressed, then walked outside. The village was already alive. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura was standing nearby. She smiled. Morning Naruto. Naruto smiled back. Morning Sakura-chan. Then he walked away. Again. Sakura blinked. Quote. That's it. Meanwhile, Naruto was already helping a shopkeeper. He repaired a broken sign. Then helped carry boxes. Then played with children. Then smiled at everyone. Sakura quietly watched. Then something strange happened. She started following him. Not intentionally. It just happened. Because every time she looked around, there was Naruto. Helping. Laughing. Smiling. Protecting. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's mind, everything felt peaceful. For years, he carried a huge burden. The burden of proving himself. The burden of wanting someone's approval. But now, that burden was gone. Naruto quietly smiled. Life's nice. That afternoon, Team 7 got another mission. Simple escort duty. Naruto, Sakura, Sai, Kakashi. Hours later, they reached a small town. Suddenly, a child tripped. Naruto immediately caught him. The child smiled. Thank you. Naruto grinned. No problem. Then the child asked, are you a hero? Naruto froze. Then he laughed. I don't know. Quote. The child smiled. You are to me. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. Then I'll do my best. Nearby, Sakura quietly watched. Then she remembered something. Naruto had always done this. Always. Even when nobody noticed. Even when nobody thanked him. He still helped. And suddenly, she realized something. Naruto never changed. She simply never looked properly before. That evening, everyone returned to Konoha. Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly asked, can I ask you something? Naruto nodded. Sure. She hesitated. Then spoke. When did you change? Naruto blinked. Huh. She smiled. You're different now. Naruto thought for a moment. Then smiled softly. I didn't change. Sakura froze. Naruto looked toward the village. Then continued. I just stopped chasing things that weren't meant to be. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura became quiet. Naruto smiled. I spent years trying to make someone choose me. The wind blew gently. Naruto laughed. But I realized something. If someone wants to stay, they'll stay. Critical damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. And if they don't, that's okay too. Sakura froze. Because for the first time, she wasn't hearing Naruto the boy. She was hearing Naruto the man. Then Naruto suddenly laughed. But honestly, I'm happy. Quote. Sakura smiled. Good. Naruto grinned. Yep. Then he stood up and stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Some things never changed. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled. Then whispered. Interesting. Because something had started changing. Not Naruto. Sakura. For years, Naruto chased her. Now, without even trying, she had started noticing him. And perhaps, that was the irony of life. The moment Naruto stopped chasing Sakura, was the moment Sakura finally started looking at Naruto differently. Several weeks later, something unexpected started happening. Not to Naruto, to Sakura. Because the more Naruto stopped chasing her, the more she began noticing things she had ignored for years. Small things, simple things, things that Naruto had always done. And somehow, those small things started changing everything. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got ready, then walked outside. The morning air was cool. The village was alive. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. This never gets old. Quote. Then he started walking. People immediately greeted him. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura was nearby. She quietly watched, then blinked. Years ago, people barely noticed Naruto. Now, everyone smiled the moment they saw him. And somehow, she felt proud. Meanwhile, Naruto reached the market, then immediately stopped. An old merchant was struggling with heavy boxes. Naruto ran over. I got it. The man smiled. Thank you. Naruto grinned. No problem. Then he helped arrange the entire store. Again, without being asked, Sakura quietly watched, then smiled. That's so Naruto. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage tower, Kakashi sighed. Again. Then he smiled. Because he noticed something. Sakura kept watching Naruto lately. Very often. Kakashi chuckled. Interesting. Meanwhile, Naruto was training children. Again. A little boy smiled. Naruto-Nisan. Yeah, what's the secret to becoming strong? Naruto smiled warmly. Protect somebody. Quote. The child blinked. Huh. Naruto pointed toward his chest. When you have someone important, you'll find strength you never knew you had. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The child smiled. Okay. Naruto grinned. Good. Nearby, Sakura froze. Because years ago, Naruto said almost the exact same thing during the war. And he truly meant it. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again. His favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Then footsteps approached. Again. Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly asked, can I ask something? Quote. Naruto nodded. Sure. She hesitated. Then spoke. Did it hurt? Naruto blinked. Huh. She looked away, stopping. Naruto understood immediately. Then he smiled softly. Yeah. Sakura froze. Naruto looked toward the sunset. The wind blew gently. Then he smiled. It hurt a lot. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto continued. But not because I stopped loving you. Critical damage. Again. Sakura froze. Naruto smiled warmly. It hurt because I finally accepted reality. The wind blew softly. Naruto continued. For years, I was trying to make someone choose me. Then he laughed. But you can't force that. Sakura quietly listened. Naruto smiled. So I let go. Silence filled the air. Then Naruto looked at her. and smiled warmly. But that doesn't mean I regret anything. Sakura blinked. Huh, Naruto laughed. If I hadn't chased you, I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have learned. I wouldn't be who I am today. Maximum emotional damage. Again, Naruto smiled. So thank you. Sakura froze completely. Because Naruto wasn't angry. He wasn't bitter. He wasn't blaming her. He was grateful. And somehow, that hurt her heart more than anger ever could. Then Naruto suddenly laughed. But honestly, I'm happy now. The stars illuminated the sky. Naruto smiled. I'm finally happy. Sakura looked at him. Then for the first time in years, she felt scared. Not because Naruto changed, but because life was moving forward. And Naruto was no longer waiting for her. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled, then whispered, Minato, your son finally chose himself. Because for years, Naruto chased someone else, but now, he was finally building his own happiness. And ironically, that made him shine brighter than ever before. Meanwhile, Naruto stood up, then stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Naruto blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. Naruto scratched his head. You guys are weird. And together, they started walking back home. But neither of them realized. This was the beginning of a completely different story. Because the moment Naruto stopped chasing Sakura, was the moment Sakura slowly began to understand what she had overlooked all along. The next few days, something started changing inside Sakura. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, very slowly, because every time she looked around, there was Naruto, helping someone, laughing with someone, protecting someone, smiling, and for the first time, she wasn't seeing him as the loud boy from the academy. She was seeing him for who he truly was. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He grabbed his jacket, then walked outside. The morning air was refreshing. The village was alive. Children were running around. Shopkeepers were opening their stores. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. I love this place. Then suddenly, an old woman called him. Naruto. Quote. Naruto immediately ran over. Yeah, she smiled. My roof is leaking. Naruto laughed. I got it. Without hesitation, he created shadow clones. Within minutes, everything was fixed. The woman smiled. Thank you. Naruto grinned. No problem. Then he waved goodbye. Meanwhile, Sakura was watching everything. Then she quietly smiled. Years ago, Naruto would have immediately looked at her afterward, waiting for praise, waiting for her approval. But now, he simply walked away, because helping people itself was enough for him. That afternoon, Team 7 received another mission. Simple patrol duty. Naruto, Sakura, Sai, Kakashi. Hours later, they reached a forest. Everything was calm. Then suddenly, a merchant wagon was stuck in the mud. Naruto immediately ran over. All help. He lifted the entire wagon. The merchant froze. How are you so strong? Naruto laughed. Lots of training. Then he grinned. And lots of ramen. Everyone burst into laughter. Some things never changed. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly watched him. Then Sai suddenly spoke. Interesting. Sakura blinked. Sai smiled. You're observing Naruto a lot lately. Sakura froze. What? Sai nodded. Your heartbeat also increased. Sakura immediately punched him. Shut up. Sai smiled. Interesting. Meanwhile, Naruto had absolutely no idea. Because he was busy helping a child fix a toy. Hours later, the mission ended. Everyone returned to Konoha. Then Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange, peaceful, alive. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly asked, why do you always come here? Naruto smiled softly. Because this place reminds me of something. Sakura blinked. What? Naruto looked toward the village. Then smiled. My dream. The wind blew gently. Naruto continued. When I was younger, I'd sit here alone. Sakura froze. Naruto smiled. And I'd imagine everyone smiling. The lights of Konoha slowly turned on. Naruto continued. I imagined a peaceful village. Quote, I imagined having friends. I imagined being accepted. Then he laughed. And somehow, it actually happened. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura quietly listened. Then Naruto smiled warmly. Life's weird. Quote. Sakura smiled too. Yeah. Naruto looked toward the stars. Then softly said, you know what I learned. Everyone listened. Happiness isn't something you chase. The wind blew gently. Naruto smiled. It grows. Quote. It grows every time you help someone. It grows every time you laugh. It grows every time someone stays. Critical damage. Again. Then Naruto smiled warmly. And one day, you suddenly realize you're happy. Quote. Sakura froze. Because those words hit her harder than expected. Years ago, Naruto was desperately trying to become happy. Now, he already was. And somehow, that scared her. Because she realized something. Life was moving forward. Naruto was moving forward. And for the first time, he wasn't waiting for her anymore. Then Naruto suddenly stood up. And stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Naruto blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. Naruto scratched his head. You guys are weird. Then they started walking home. Halfway through the village, Sakura stopped. Naruto turned around. She looked at him. Really looked at him. The blonde hair. The blue eyes. The warm smile. The confidence. The kindness. The maturity. Then something inside her heart felt different. Something she didn't understand. Naruto blinked. Sakura-chan. She immediately looked away. And nothing. Naruto smiled. Okay. Then he continued walking, leaving Sakura standing there. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled, then whispered, interesting. Quote. Because he could already see it. Naruto wasn't changing anymore. Sakura was. And sometimes, the moment you stop chasing someone, is the exact moment they finally begin to see your worth. Meanwhile, Naruto looked at the stars. Then smiled. I'm really happy. He genuinely meant it. And perhaps, that was the beginning of a brand new chapter in Naruto Uzumaki's life. A few weeks later, something impossible started happening. Naruto was becoming even more popular throughout Konoha. But unlike before, he didn't care anymore. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't trying to be noticed. He was simply being himself. And somehow, that made him shine brighter than ever. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He grabbed his jacket, then walked outside. The morning air was refreshing. The village was alive. Birds flew across the sky. Children were running toward the academy. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. I love this place. Then he started walking. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly watched him. Again. Then she blinked. Because something had changed. Naruto wasn't lonely anymore. Years ago, he always looked for her. Now, he was surrounded by people. Children. Villagers. Shinobi. Everyone. And somehow, she felt something strange. She felt left behind. Meanwhile, Naruto reached Ichiraku. Extra large ramen. Ayame smiled. As always. As always. Then disaster arrived. Again. Several academy children sat beside him. Naruto-Nisan. Naruto laughed. Hey guys. Then one child smiled. What's the secret to being happy? Naruto blinked. Then he smiled warmly. Stop waiting. Everyone froze. Naruto continued. Don't wait for happiness. Don't wait for life. Don't wait for people. The wind blew gently. Naruto smiled. Live. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto continued. Make memories. Protect people. Enjoy every day. And happiness will eventually find you. Critical damage. Again. Nearby. Sakura froze. Because those words hit her hard. Years ago, Naruto was the one waiting. Waiting for her. Waiting for recognition. Waiting for acceptance. Now, he wasn't waiting anymore. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange, peaceful, alive. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly asked, "Can I ask you something?" Quote. Naruto nodded. Sure. She hesitated. Then spoke. If you could go back in time. Naruto blinked. She smiled nervously. Would you still fall in love with me? Silence. The wind blew gently. Naruto looked toward the village. Then smiled softly. Yeah. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. I would. Then he laughed. Every single time. Sakura froze completely. Then Naruto smiled warmly. Because even though it hurt, it taught me a lot. Quote. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto continued. It taught me patience. It taught me loyalty. It taught me how to protect someone. It taught me how to move forward. The stars slowly appeared. Naruto smiled. So I don't regret any of it. Sakura quietly listened. Then Naruto laughed. But, he smiled warmly. I wouldn't chase anymore. Critical damage. Again. Sakura froze. Naruto looked at the sky. Then smiled. Because I finally learned something. The wind blew softly. Naruto continued. If someone wants to walk beside you, they will. You don't have to run after them. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Then Naruto smiled. And honestly, I'm at peace now. Sakura quietly looked at him. Because for the first time, she understood. Naruto wasn't trying to become someone anymore. He already was someone. Someone amazing. Someone dependable. Someone warm. Someone kind. And maybe, she had realized it too late. Then Naruto suddenly stood up. And stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Naruto blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. Naruto scratched his head. You guys are weird. Then he started walking home. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled. Then whispered. Minato, your son finally stopped chasing the wrong dream. Quote. Because for years, Naruto chased Sakura, but now, he was finally chasing his own happiness. And ironically, that made him more attractive than ever before. Meanwhile, Sakura watched him walk away. And for the first time in her life, she felt something she never expected to feel. Regret. Because Naruto was no longer standing still. He was moving forward. And life would never wait forever. Several days later, something unexpected happened. For the first time in years, Sakura was the one thinking about Naruto. Not because he disappeared. Not because he changed completely. But because he had become comfortable with his own life. And somehow, that made him impossible to ignore. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got dressed, then walked outside. The morning sunlight illuminated Konoha. The village was already alive. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. Beautiful day. Then he started walking. People immediately greeted him. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Quote. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura was standing nearby, quietly watching. Then she smiled unconsciously. Because she noticed something. Naruto smiled at everyone equally. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't looking for approval. He was simply happy. And somehow, that felt new. Meanwhile, Naruto reached the training grounds. Several academy students ran toward him. Naruto-Nisan. Naruto laughed. Hey guys. One child smiled. Can you train us? Naruto grinned. Of course. Hours passed. He trained them. He corrected their mistakes. He encouraged them. He laughed with them. Then one child fell down. Naruto immediately helped him up. Don't worry. The child looked sad. I'm weak. Naruto smiled warmly. No. The child blinked. Huh. Naruto grinned. You're improving. Maximum emotional damage. Again, Naruto continued. Never call yourself weak. You're just not done growing yet. The child smiled. Okay. Naruto grinned. Good. Nearby, Sakura quietly watched. Then she smiled. Because that was so Naruto. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The stars illuminated the sky. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then looked toward the village. After a few moments, she spoke. Can I ask another question? Naruto laughed. You've been asking a lot lately. Sakura smiled. Maybe. Naruto grinned. Go ahead. She hesitated. Then asked. When did you stop needing my approval? Silence. The wind blew gently. Naruto looked toward the stars. Then smiled softly. I don't know. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. I guess. One day I realized something. Quote. The wind blew softly. Naruto smiled. I was enough. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura froze completely. Naruto continued. For years, I thought I needed someone to choose me. Then he laughed. But I was wrong. He pointed at himself. I needed to choose myself first. Critical damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. And after that, everything became easier. Sakura quietly listened. Because those words hit harder than anything else. Years ago, Naruto lacked confidence. Now, he radiated it naturally. Without arrogance. Without pride. Without ego. Just peace. Then Naruto laughed. You know what's funny? Sakura blinked. Naruto scratched his head. I used to think my life would be empty without you. Sakura froze. Then Naruto smiled warmly. But life surprised me. The village lights glowed below. Naruto continued. I found happiness in a lot of other places too. Quote. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Naruto smiled. My friends. My village. My dreams. My future. Then he looked at Sakura. And smiled kindly. And I'm grateful for all of it. Sakura quietly smiled back. But inside, her heart felt heavy. Because she finally understood something. Naruto wasn't waiting anymore. The boy who spent years standing at the same place had finally moved forward. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled, then whispered, Minato. He finally learned his worth. Because sometimes, the greatest growth doesn't happen when someone chooses you. It happens when you realize you were always enough. Meanwhile, Naruto stood up, then stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Naruto blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. Naruto scratched his head. You guys are weird. Then he started walking home, leaving Sakura quietly staring at him. And for the first time in years, she wasn't seeing Naruto as someone chasing her. She was seeing him as someone she might lose. A few weeks later, something quietly started changing in Konoha. Not Naruto. Everyone else. Because people were beginning to realize something. Naruto had grown up. The loud, attention-seeking boy from the academy was gone. In his place stood a calm, dependable, and confident shinobi. And for some reason, that made him shine even brighter. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got dressed, then walked outside. The cool morning breeze greeted him. The village was already alive. People smiled as he passed. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly watched him again. Then she sighed. Because she noticed something. Naruto wasn't alone anymore. Children followed him. Villagers trusted him. Shinobi respected him. And somehow, everyone felt comfortable around him. Meanwhile, Naruto arrived at Training Ground 7. Several academy students were already waiting. Naruto-Nisan. Naruto laughed. You're early. The children smiled. One child raised his hand. Naruto-Nisan. Yeah, the child asked. When did you become so cool? Naruto froze. Quote. Everyone laughed. Naruto scratched his head. I'm cool. The children nodded immediately. Naruto laughed. I don't know about that. Quote. Then he smiled warmly. I just stopped being afraid. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The children blinked. Afraid of what? Naruto looked toward the sky. Then smiled. Being alone. The wind blew gently. Naruto continued. When you stop being afraid, you start enjoying life more. Critical damage. Again. The children smiled. Okay. Naruto grinned. Good. That afternoon, Team 7 received another mission. Simple patrol duty. Naruto, Sakura, Sai, Kakashi. Hours later, they sat near a river during a short break. The water flowed peacefully. Naruto smiled. This place is nice. Sakura quietly looked at him. Then suddenly asked, do you ever miss it? Naruto blinked. She hesitated. The old days. Naruto thought for a moment. Then smiled softly. Sometimes. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. I miss being a kid. Quote. I miss Team 7. I miss some memories. The wind blew gently. Then he smiled. But I don't miss who I used to be. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura quietly listened. Naruto smiled. That Naruto was always unhappy. Quote. He always thought he needed something. Then he pointed toward his chest. This Naruto is different. Critical damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. This Naruto already has enough. Sakura froze completely. Because that answer somehow hurt her heart. Then Naruto suddenly laughed. You know what's funny? Sakura blinked. Naruto scratched his head. I used to think my entire future depended on one person. Quote. Sakura froze. Then Naruto smiled kindly. But life is much bigger than that. The river flowed gently. Naruto continued. There's family, friends, dreams, memories, tomorrow. Then he smiled. And honestly, I'm excited about all of it. Maximum emotional damage. Again. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again. His favorite place. The stars illuminated the sky. Then footsteps approached. Again. Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly said, I think I understand now. Naruto blinked. Sakura smiled softly. You finally found your happiness. Quote. Naruto froze. Then he smiled. Yeah. The wind blew gently. Naruto looked toward Konoha. Then smiled warmly. I really did. Silence filled the air. Then Naruto quietly added, and I hope everyone finds theirs too. Quote. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Far away. Kakashi smiled proudly. Then whispered. Minato. He did it. Because Naruto Uzumaki was no longer chasing love. He was living life. And ironically, that made him more extraordinary than ever before. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly looked at him. Then she smiled. Because she realized something too. Naruto had changed. But maybe, the person who needed to change all along, was her. A few days later, for the first time in a very long time, Sakura couldn't stop thinking about Naruto. Not because he was trying to get her attention. Not because he was following her around. But because he wasn't. And somehow, that changed everything. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. He got ready, then walked outside. The village was already alive. The sunlight illuminated Konoha beautifully. Children ran through the streets. Birds flew overhead. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. I love this place. Then he continued walking. Morning Naruto. Morning Naruto-kun. Morning Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Quote. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly watched him. Then blinked. Years ago, Naruto's world revolved around her. Now, his world was so much bigger. His village, his dreams, his students, his friends, his future. And somehow, that made him shine brighter than ever. That afternoon, Naruto was helping children train. Again, one child smiled. Naruto-Nisan. Yeah, the child asked. When did you become so happy? Naruto froze. then smiled softly. He looked toward the sky, then laughed. I think it happened little by little. Everyone listened. Naruto continued. Every memory, every friend, every mistake, every lesson. Quote, the wind blew gently. Then he smiled warmly. They all added up. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The child smiled. So happiness takes time. Naruto grinned. Yep. Real happiness always does. Nearby, Sakura quietly smiled, because those words felt beautiful. Then suddenly, Sai appeared beside her. You've been watching him a lot lately. Sakura froze, then immediately turned red. What? Sai smiled. Interesting. Sakura immediately punched him. Shut up. Meanwhile, Naruto had absolutely no idea, because he was busy fixing a child's broken kunai pouch. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange, peaceful, alive. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then after a few moments, she quietly asked, can I ask you one last question? Naruto laughed. Sure. She hesitated, then asked, if I had chosen you back then. Naruto froze. The wind blew gently. He looked toward the village, then smiled softly. Maybe things would have been different. Sakura froze. Naruto continued. Maybe we'd have made different memories. Maybe we'd have laughed more. Maybe we'd have fought less. Then he smiled warmly. But honestly, I'm okay with how life turned out. Maximum emotional damage. Again, Sakura quietly listened. Naruto smiled. Because everything that happened made us who we are today. Critical damage. Again. Then he looked at her and smiled kindly. So I don't regret anything. Sakura froze. Because once again, there was no anger, no bitterness, no resentment, only peace. Then Naruto suddenly laughed. But honestly, I'm glad we're friends. Maximum emotional damage. Again, Sakura smiled too, then quietly said, me too. The stars illuminated the sky. Naruto looked toward Konoha, then smiled warmly. You know something? Sakura blinked. Naruto laughed. I used to think life was all about finding someone. The wind blew gently. Then he smiled. But life is much bigger than that. He pointed toward the village. It's about finding yourself too. Critical damage. Again, Sakura froze completely, because those words hit harder than anything else. Years ago, Naruto was searching for someone else to complete him. Now, he was already complete. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled proudly, then whispered, Minato. He finally became the person he was always meant to be. Because Naruto Uzumaki wasn't chasing Sakura anymore. He was chasing tomorrow. And tomorrow looked beautiful. Meanwhile, Sakura quietly looked at him, then smiled. Because for the first time, she wasn't seeing Naruto as someone she had rejected. She was seeing him as someone extraordinary. And maybe, just maybe, she was starting to fall for the version of Naruto that no longer needed her. Several weeks later, something unexpected happened. For the first time since the academy days, Sakura started missing Naruto, not because he was gone, but because he had stopped revolving his life around her. And that small change changed everything. One morning, Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then smiled. Today's gonna be awesome. Quote. He got dressed, then walked outside. The village was alive. People greeted him. Children ran toward him. Shopkeepers smiled. Everything felt peaceful. Naruto smiled. Morning everyone. Then he continued walking. Meanwhile, Sakura was standing nearby. She watched him for a moment. Then she blinked, because she realized something strange. Naruto no longer looked lonely. Years ago, there was always a sadness hidden behind his smile. Now, that sadness was gone. In its place, there was peace. That afternoon, Naruto was helping academy students train. Again, one child smiled. Naruto-Nisan. Yeah, the child asked. What changed you? Quote. Naruto froze, then smiled softly. The wind blew gently. Then he laughed. I stopped trying to force life. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The child blinked. Naruto smiled warmly. You can't force people. Quote. You can't force feelings. You can't force happiness. The wind blew gently. Naruto smiled. Some things arrive naturally. Critical damage. Again. The child smiled. Okay. Naruto grinned. Good. Nearby. Sakura quietly listened. Then something inside her heart tightened. Because years ago, Naruto would have never said those words. Years ago, he would have chased endlessly. Now, he simply smiled and moved forward. That evening, Naruto climbed atop the Hokage monument. Again, his favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange, peaceful, alive. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. Naruto smiled. Oh, Sakura-chan. She sat beside him. Then quietly asked, are you happier now than before? Naruto blinked. Then smiled. Yeah. Sakura froze. Naruto looked toward the village. Then softly said, a lot happier. Quote. The wind blew gently. Naruto continued. Because I stopped measuring my happiness through someone else. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura quietly listened. Naruto smiled. I used to think, if one person chose me, I'd finally be happy. Then he laughed. But life doesn't work that way. Critical damage. Again. Naruto smiled warmly. Happiness starts from inside. The stars slowly appeared. Naruto continued. When I learned to appreciate myself, everything changed. Sakura froze. Because those words hit her heart directly. Years ago, Naruto desperately wanted her approval. Now, he didn't need anyone's approval. He already knew his worth. Then Naruto laughed. You know what's funny? Sakura blinked. Naruto scratched his head. If younger me saw me now, he'd probably cry. Sakura smiled. Probably. Naruto laughed. Definitely. Then he smiled warmly. But that's okay. The wind blew gently. Naruto looked toward Konoha. Then softly said, I'm proud of him. Maximum emotional damage. Again. Sakura froze. Because Naruto wasn't talking about himself now. He was talking about the lonely boy he used to be. The boy who never gave up. The boy who kept smiling. The boy who kept moving forward. Then Naruto smiled. He went through a lot. And he deserves to be happy. Quote. Critical damage. Again. Sakura quietly smiled. Because for the first time, she truly understood. Naruto wasn't becoming someone anymore. He had already become someone extraordinary. Meanwhile, far away, Kakashi smiled proudly. Then whispered, Minato. He finally learned to love himself. Because sometimes, the greatest love story isn't about finding another person. It's about finding yourself. And Naruto Uzumaki had finally done that. Meanwhile, Naruto stood up, then stretched. I'm hungry. Sakura burst into laughter. Naruto blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. Naruto scratched his head. You guys are weird. Then he started walking home, leaving Sakura quietly staring at him. And for the first time, she wasn't wondering why Naruto stopped chasing her. She was wondering when exactly she had started admiring him. Several months later, life in Konoha had become peaceful again. The village was alive, children laughed, families smiled, the shinobi world was finally at peace. And Naruto Uzumaki had finally found happiness. One evening, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument. His favorite place. The sunset illuminated Konoha beautifully. Orange, peaceful, alive. Naruto smiled. Then he quietly whispered, we really made it. Years ago. This same place felt lonely. Now, it felt like home. Then footsteps approached. Again, Sakura arrived. She sat beside him. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Then Sakura smiled. You know. Naruto blinked. She laughed softly. I used to think you'd always be there waiting for me. Naruto smiled. Yeah. She looked toward the village. Then quietly said, but life doesn't work that way. Naruto nodded. Yeah. The wind blew gently. Then Sakura smiled. I'm glad you moved forward. Naruto froze. Then he smiled warmly. Me too. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The stars slowly appeared. Naruto looked toward Konoha, then smiled. You know what I learned. Sakura blinked. Naruto smiled softly. Love isn't chasing someone forever. The wind blew gently. Naruto continued. Love is respect. It's understanding. It's accepting reality. It's being grateful for the people who were part of your journey. Critical damage. Again. Then Naruto smiled warmly. And sometimes, moving forward is the kindest thing you can do for yourself. Quote. Sakura quietly listened. Then she smiled. You're really different now. Naruto laughed. Maybe. Then he scratched his head. Or maybe I'm finally becoming myself. Maximum emotional damage. Again. The village lights illuminated Konoha below. Then Sakura quietly said, I think younger me would have been surprised. Naruto laughed. Same. Then both laughed together. Because there was no awkwardness anymore. No pain. No expectations. No chasing. Only peace. Far away. Kakashi smiled proudly. Then whispered. Minato. He finally did it. Because Naruto Uzumaki didn't get his happy ending by making someone choose him. He got his happy ending by choosing himself. Years ago, he was the lonely boy sitting on a swing. Now, he was a man loved by his village, respected by the world, and at peace with himself. Then Naruto looked toward the stars one last time, and smiled. I'm happy. 3 simple words, but they meant everything. Because years ago, the lonely boy nobody noticed, never thought he'd be able to say them. And now, he truly meant them. What if Naruto never chased Sakura again? The answer was simple. He didn't lose anything. He found himself. And perhaps, that was the greatest victory Naruto Uzumaki could ever achieve.